Bases dropped on a new round of SDHAM. Perhaps so. I don't know. If I hit an actual button, you'd see me. Hi. Bases dropped. Sorry about 9:06 because it's opening kickoff and I have a question. So, John, here, you there. It's Tuesday Thoughts. So we got a lot of stuff to get into this morning. We have, and also to unflip the camera. So hang on just a second. Video. No, I don't want the camera mirrored. So there we go. All right. Now everything's normal and you can see the boss and you can read the print. All right. John, here, you there. We got a lot of stuff to get into this morning. It's more the newsy show of the week where we still have a lot of stuff to get into with Atlanta United. All the call-ups are official, so we can walk through that. We got the twos to get into. We have news of the morning to get into. We have Welcome to Open Cup to get into. So there's plenty to get into today. So if there's anything on your mind, period, that's kind of what we're here for. Layout for the rest of the week. It is Laurel Failer is going to join us from Queen City Press, I think at 9:30 tomorrow. And we'll see if Tyler can slide or if he's going to be a part of a three-way dance in the 9 o'clock hour. So we'll figure out that. So Laurel Failer is going to come in tomorrow. I think it's just before she heads to practice. So we get the FC Cincinnati update tomorrow when it comes to this particular week and the international window. Then let's see. So Wednesday is Wednesday, and Thursday is the standard power hour from 10 to 11. It's Nino and Nico. We'll get you ready for everything else that's going on. We'll talk Open Cup. We'll see if there are any surprises, see if we need to grab anybody to come on the morning show. And so we'll be monitoring Open Cup as we go. Then it is our first third Thursday event at Moxie Midtown. That's at 7 o'clock. I think it's 7 to 8:30, 7 to 9, something like that. So come on by, hang out with us, and we'll discuss everything Major League Soccer, discuss Atlanta United, all the things that are going on in your head. If you want to come to Moxie Midtown for our first third Thursday event, please do, as the kids say. So if you come by there on Thursday, then that'll be fun. Then Friday, like I said, still waiting for an okey doke on a doubleheader on Friday for our Friday night matches. And then Jason is heading to Cincinnati. And it's the early game on Saturday with Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. And the twos have the weekend off. So that's where we are this weekend. There's some academy action that's going to be first thing Saturday morning. And Nick and Maddie will have that for you at atlutd.com/live. So looking forward to seeing that. So it'll be activity going up to high school. Like I said, looking to be at a high school location on Friday. Then Saturday morning, it's academy. Saturday afternoon, Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. And then next week, we know two of our locations for high school soccer next week. We're going to be in Perry for Warner Robins and Perry in the midweek, and then we're going to turn around and be at Parkview and Brookwood, the Battle of Five Forks Trickham. So that's next week. We're trying to clear a third location and get everything all squared away with that. So very, very busy, as the kids say. So really looking forward to that as we go. So 4 match days planned next week involving 2 locations we're waiting to hear from. Warner Robins and Perry on the 27th, and Parkview and Brookwood is on the 28th. And so then on the 29th, it's Atlanta United and NYCFC. And then on the 30th, it's Atlanta United 2 getting back to it and taking on Chattanooga FC. And then Marist and Walton on the 31st on the girls' side. And that gets us into April. I mean, literally, when you look at this, like I said, this is Jason's grid that he pieced together for our programming for, let's see, when does this, it's kind of pieced together and it's into October, 4 pages. So that's Jason. So Jason pieced together 4 pages of material, and that's kind of what we are navigating through. And we're just on to page 2, by the way. We just cleared page 1 last week for all of the grid. So that's where we are. Like I said, apologies for 9:06 because this is my question for the morning. Morning, Alex. And this is opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, once again, you can go to Kickoff Coffee. You start your day there, Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And then from there, what you do when you check out, use the code soccer down here 15 to get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, Kickoff Coffee, and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. I was trying to upload the twos highlights to play them in the show this morning. And I may figure out how to do it sooner or later, but I might have to do it off the laptop and then integrate it that way. So I was looking at my storage space here on the desktop, and it was telling me I was maxed out. And the numbers don't add up. So there's something that's there, and I can't quite figure out what it is. And so this is where I ask for your expertise. Like I said, I was trying to upload twos highlights so we could talk about the twos in OCB, where Orlando City B gives up a goal in the final 12 minutes to Ronan win, and it ends up as a goal. It ends up as a point for Atlanta United. OCB picks up the second point for winning in the penalty kick shootout after 90 minutes. So trying to upload those highlights, and it's not working. Literally, the audio software that I use for bringing highlights in was like crashing after like 35 seconds. So I go to the particular section of the troubleshooting for the computer, and it tells me, and literally it tells me that I'm right up against the window when it comes to space and available and all this kind of stuff. Literally, it is telling me I have no bytes free at all. And I don't know how this is humanly possible, because it's telling me that my apps and features are at 427 gigs of this computer. And that's about 90% of the storage space. Temporary files I get, and it's not removing temporary files either. So it says up to 1.12 gigs may not be reclaimable. Okay, fine. Then give me my gigs back. Desktop, I've got, like stuff that I save and things like that. But it's telling me that my apps and features, which do not add up to all of the gigs on display. I mean, literally, I'm looking at all of my apps and all of my drives, and it's telling me that I have, megs that were brought in as far back as 2021. And this might actually be a Daniel Price question, because Daniel actually pieced this computer together, and he did it 4 years ago to help me out because my other one was crashing. This one now is maxed out on all of its memory, apparently, and in storage space, and I don't know why. So this is a question for all of you computer types. Why do I not have any more memory left on my computer? It's like I tried clearing out cookies and things like that, and it was still not giving me a whole lot. So I don't know what's going on with it, and the numbers don't add up. And so it's difficult for me to edit currently. Like I said, I end up having to edit on the laptop as opposed to editing on the desktop, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and I don't know how to dig into it. So that's the issue this morning with me and the desktop. So if there's anybody out there, literally anyone out there that knows how in the wide world of sports I can sit there and blow things up that need to be blown up so I can get back to my normal storage space, then let me know. You can reach out to me in the Discord. Pars has been reaching out to me in the Discord recently, and it took me a second to realize, okay, I can log in through my Gmail account. And I finally figured that out as a part of this whole process. But yeah, so anybody with any ideas, literally send them to me. You can do it social media. You can sit here and do it in the Twitch pitch. You can sit here and figure out, okay, well, if Nelson's an idiot, then here's why. And so we're getting to, I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on and why my storage space is maxed out. And I have no idea, A, why, when the numbers don't add up, and B, how to blow out the stuff I don't want so I can get back to my normal spacing of, having, say, 10% of everything free. So I'm not having to download everything and crash everything over to a flash drive and move it from computer to computer. So that's where I am this morning. And that, like I said, that's why it was 9:06. And the profoundest apologies when it comes to all of that kind of stuff, because like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing in trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, well, look at you. Okay, so we're not wasting any time this morning with the silly people, and we're going to go ahead with corrective integration, and we're going to blow them out of the water. Nothing like having a bot to start things off on your Tuesday. So we're going to block, and I'm going to take care of this immediately. So I'm going to report them as a bot, and then I'm going to, once again, can you give us more information? Well, it's a bot. So we're going to say viewership farming via bot, and I'm going to capitalize B-O-T, bot, just because we do that. And so I've submitted my 26-character report to our friends at Twitch. So there you go. So corrective integration, you've been botted and blocked and reported. So there you go. But yeah, biggest thing, like I said this morning, I'm apparently out of space here in the desktop. I don't know why. And there was one time previously where I was out of space, and then like the next day, and I didn't touch anything. It literally, like, it went back down to whatever the numbers were, and it literally went back to like half full. And I don't know, because I didn't touch anything. I came back the next morning, everything was back to fine, and I didn't have to worry about it. And I think that was the last time that I did have to worry about it, frankly, what was in that particular zone. So I don't know. And it was, this is an out of control kind of a thing. And I'm trying to go like, all I want is for this. All I want is for this to behave completely. I just want to completely. I just want to make sure that I am doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And I have no blanking clue about how to, how to fix these kinds of things. Because as you well know, for those of you who have been with us here on the morning show, I have no computer acumen whatsoever. It's like, oh, I can turn it on. That's about it. So when it comes to fixing memory issues and things like that, I have no idea how to fix these kinds of things. So your help is greatly appreciated. If I'm missing a step, tell me. That's the biggest thing. And so that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code hopefully will be making its way over when I remember to see if I can figure out how to pull a QR code and have it as a JPEG and then have it pop in front of my face so we can actually talk about these kinds of things. Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. Atlanta United, we now know the ins and the outs. We now know the ins and the outs for Atlanta United when it comes to the upcoming international window. And so what that means is since we now know who ain't going, and we now know we know who is going, and so therefore we now know who isn't. And so that's where we are. So now, with everybody out the door, we can go back and we can look at it and see what's going on involving Atlanta United, what it's going to look like going up against Cincinnati. So the call-ups, the international call-ups for this particular window, there's 10 of them. I mean, that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But I know that a lot of folks are sitting there going, there's 10 call-ups. So what does that leave us with when we're going to Cincinnati? And that's kind of what we'll talk about with Tyler tomorrow, because of the time that we get to spend with the twos and everything, and we get to kind of piece things together. So 10 Atlanta United players get national team call-ups in this window. It is 8 in the first team, and then you end up with Dominic Chonqui and Caden Moore also called up. So Abram, Almiron, Brennan, Cobb, Fortune, Gregerson, Morales, Sleesh in the March 17 through 25 window. So that's what you're looking at with that. So Abram goes to Peru for CONMEBOL qualifiers, March 20 and 25. No Lionel Messi, by the way, for Argentina. And the video has we have intimated and kind of zapruded our way to figure out that it was the moment where Messi was working as you were focusing, as you're watching the match, if you're watching it on television, going from left to right, and there was a moment where Messi ended up wide to the as you're watching your far post, as you are watching the near post as he's attacking down the left, and you can tell that the body was not behaving right after the play was over. He kind of winced a little bit and dapped Brad and moved on. So the word came out last night about 6 o'clock that Lionel Messi was not named in the final roster for Argentina here in this CONMEBOL window. And Inter Miami came out with a quite prepared statement about the whole thing. It was a lovely couple of sentences. And so the injury report given by Messi and friends on Messi was as such. Messi underwent an MRI this morning, meaning yesterday, to assess the extent of the discomfort in his adductor region, which he experienced during last night's match against Atlanta United. And his adductor has been very, very wonky and troublesome over the last, 9, 12 months? The examination's findings confirm the presence of a low-grade injury in the adductor muscle. His clinical progress and response to treatment will determine his availability for competition. Basically, that's very, very officially sounding, saying that, yes, he has an adductor injury, and how he responds to treatment is how long he's going to be out. We don't know. He doesn't either. We'll all figure it out together. Just once, that'd be kind of fun to have that in a release for a document, for an examination. He don't know. We don't know. We'll get back to you when it comes to the timetable. It's like for the reported timetable for the absence of insert athlete here, team physician Dr. Vinny Boombat said, quote, he don't know, we don't know, we're all going to walk through it together, we'll figure it out, we'll let you know when we know something. Period, close quote. Now, that would be the kind of quote that you're looking for from an official, an official doctor type person for something like this. But, so now back to CONMEBOL. So Luis Abram goes, he'll be representing Peru, Bolivia, and Venezuela. Miggy goes back to help out Paraguay, hosting Chile before facing Argentina March 25. Maybe that was why Miggy got Messi's jersey, because Messi knew he wasn't gonna be showing up for the Argentina match. Paraguay currently is 6th in the current CONMEBOL standings, the last automatic qualifying spot. 17 points through 12 matches. Almiron scored in the most recent match, the draw at Bolivia back in November. Brennan and Cobb named to the USU 20s for a training camp in Spain on 17 through 25. So they're already there. U20s are going to face Mexico March 22nd, Japan March 24th. Brennan has 4 caps, 1 goal. Noah Cobb helped them lead to the CONCACAF U20 Championship in 24. Jay Fortune goes to help out Trinidad and Tobago for the CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifying matches against Cuba on the 21st and the 25th. It's crazy to think that Jay made his senior national debut on February 1st of 2021. 8 appearances, first international goal, Gold Cup, and the win against St. Kitts and Nevis. Gregerson goes to Norway to help them out for UEFA qualifiers at Moldova and at Israel. 10 appearances for Norway since his debut back in 21. Efren Morales joins Bolivia for a pair of World Cup qualifiers in CONMEBOL as they are in 7th place, 4 points behind Paraguay, playing Peru at Peru and at home against Uruguay. He appeared in each of Bolivia's last 2 qualifying matches after previously making 6 appearances for the nation's U20s. Bart Sliech goes to Poland to help out for their matches against Lithuania and Malta. 14 caps for Poland since 2021. Dominic Chongqui and Caden Moore named to the U.S. U18s for a training camp in Marbella, Spain from the 17th to the 25th. U.S. get Morocco on the 22nd, Norway on the 25th. So now as we piece together what you got and what you don't, you notice that there are some names that are not there. You notice that Saba is staying. You notice that Latte Lat is staying. You notice that Miranchuk is staying. So you have all of that activity up top. You're helped out up top once again by Shande Silva, Caden Dogashi. You're monitoring the health of Jamal Tiare. So your attack pretty much stays intact going up against Cincinnati coming up this weekend. It is the midfield and the defense is where you sit there and you're trying to figure out what you need to do. So you don't have Jay, you don't have Bart. Odds are you're going to be monitoring the health of Mateus Klick. And so Muyemba starting. Klick, you hope, starts. Then your back line, you don't have Gregerson, but you do have Amador. You do have Derek Williams, and you do have Brooks Lennon. So you wonder what it's going to look like stylistically in this challenge that we talked about on the full-time report for Ronnie Dyla and the coaching staff going up against Cincinnati, who probably will not have Miles Robinson, at least not at 100%. You won't have Kevin Denke. You won't have Teenage Hadibi. You won't have Flores because of a red card. So you've got a lot of activity at the back that you've got to pay attention to, with the front being what it is for Atlanta United. So that's what that's the biggest thing that's staring at you, this big lighthouse coming up on the weekend. Atlanta United, most of their starting attack still in place. The defense for FC Cincinnati has some issues. Still, once again, no Matt Miazga. He's out another couple of weeks. Nick Hagland returning from injury, broken fibula, I believe. And Hagland, is he ready? Can he give you minutes if he is? So issues at the back for Cincinnati. Issues in the middle for Atlanta United. No issues at the front. So issues at the back for Cincinnati. No issues at the front except for missing Miguel Almiron. So you have an issue but not issues. So that's what you're looking at in the yin and yang of the matchup coming up this weekend. Like I said, Laurel Failer is going to be joining us from Queen City Press tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be about 9:30. So we'll see what's on Laurel's mind as we get you ready for Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati coming up on the weekend. So that's the larger point here that we can take away, at least from the surface discussion involving Atlanta United and the matchup this weekend, as they're looking to get some points on the road. And Alex can insert his quote wherever he sees fit. Morning, Walkville. Good to see you. So that's your, now that we have the 10 names that are out, we also now know the 10 kind of positions that you're staring at. Just quickly, let me see if anybody else was named in the window to not be a part of the activity going on this weekend. So let me see. Tickets, club stats, news. Let's see. So, like I said, I'm scanning to see if there is anything when it comes to the weekend. We've got recaps. I get news from FC Cincinnati, don't I? As I sit here and try to figure out what I might be missing. As I sit here and buzz it through. Yes, points in March, something September. Yes, absolutely true. I swear I thought I got notifications from FC Cincinnati. And apparently Poppy is the official soda of Messi and Friends. That came out yesterday as well. Somewhere in my emails. I know that it exists. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of a call-up-ian kind of a thing. I'm going to clean out some emails too. So nothing there. And nothing in that one. And is there anything in updates? No, there's nothing in updates. I swear I thought I got something from FC Cincinnati. It's probably in an email that I don't know. But so like I said, that's the early returns for Cincinnati. Well, you know what you could do, John, as he talks to himself on the show. We're going to go to Queen City Press and see if Laurel has anything to say. Recap on the loss to Charlotte. Like I said, I'm just looking at what it looks like here. No, I'm I'm refreshing to access the content because I'm a Patreon. Hello. I'm a Patreon for Laurel's account. Like I said, I always make the point to sit there and say, yes, I am a member of this whole thing, but it's been a while since I've accessed it from this particular computer. So let's see. Pat Noonan says it was a tough night. Miles Robinson exited in the 30th minute, according to Pat Noonan. Tightness is it was ID'd in the postgame press conference. And Charlotte took advantage. We know this. Gilberto Flores was the player who ended up getting 2 yellows. And so Flores, FCC, is shorthanded on defense against Atlanta. Teenage Adibi scheduled to travel to Zimbabwe to complete green card process. Unclear if he'll be back in time for the match. Robinson expected to undergo some scans to determine the extent of his injury. Nick Hagland has been building match fitness in a pair of MLS Next Pro matches with FC Cincinnati 2. Could be available. Not an ideal situation, potentially being down 3 center backs. Miazga is also still yet to train as he comes back from June knee surgery. Miles Robinson has been captain. Probably could have kept going, but, I don't think there was a need to take a risk at that stage. Teenage came in and did some good things, but we'll see what the scan comes back with. That's paraphrasing Pat Noonan from the weekend. So, like I said, when Laurel comes in tomorrow, we'll discuss it a little bit more in depth. But right now, that's kind of where you are involving Atlanta United, who they don't have. Don't be surprised if you see folks like Javi Armas, if he is healthy. He was not available for Steve Cook in the Atlanta United 2 match. You might see Ryan Carmichael on the roster. You might see Javi Armas on the roster. Probably what – see, and this is the question, because at the back with center backs, do you – then, like I said, this is the big question. Is Aiden Torres a part of the discussion? Do you play things a little differently? Do you play with 3 at the back? This is the whole thing that you have to kind of process through. So we've got to kind of workshop it as the week goes, and figure out, okay, what does it look like? Who's where? Those kinds of things. So the not having the second center back that you would normally have in either Cobb or Morales. You don't know the health of Ronald Hernandez, keeping an eye on that. If Ronald is healthy and can play, that makes the decisions a lot easier. And so you would move, I think you would probably end up moving Derek. Well, actually, no, you'd probably keep Derek where he is. Ronnie comes in, and you would have Ronald, and it might end up being like a back 3, or no, wait a second. See, now I'm processing this in my brain. So if you've got Ronald, then you probably stay where you are, because then Ronald turns into your right back, and Ronald will give you whatever he needs to give you if he's healthy enough to go. So it would be Amador and Derek and Ronnie if he's healthy. Like I said, we don't know. If he's not, then that's another question. Then Brooks at your right wing. Then it's Tristan and Click in the midfield, with midfield help coming from the 2s, probably Carmichael, Javi Armas. That's what you're looking like there. Maybe Aiden Torres to help things out, or Matt Edwards gets another start, and you end up with something kind of tilted when it comes to your back line. So if Matt was to start again, and we've seen Matt Edwards grow into the position, and we'll get into this more as we workshop through this tomorrow, but if Matt Edwards starts and Ronald does not, then maybe Matt plays as a center back. It's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. So it ends up being Amador and Derek and Matt and Brooks. And so things might be tilted a little bit that way. Then it's Tristan and keeping an eye on the health of Click, with Carmichael and Armas getting a short-term call-up maybe. Then up top, you still pretty much stay the same, but you're looking at the health of Shande Silva. You said up top it'd be fine, because you would have Miranchuk and Saba and I'm flaking out here. So you'd have Saba and Latte Lot. So Latte Lot, Saba, Miranchuk, and then it's looking at the health of Shande Silva, looking at Jamal, Togashi. So you're okay up top. You're okay up top in your attack. Midfield would be Miranchuk, and in a perfect world, Miranchuk and Muyamba and Klik. And then if Matt Edwards has to start, Matt's probably your right center back, and then that's what it looks like. I'm guessing, like I said, that's just me trying to process it through. We'll talk with Tyler about it tomorrow and see what he's looking at when it comes to processing it as well. So basically, 6 minutes of full-blown stream of consciousness trying to figure out the lineup and figure out what you need and what we can go. So there it is. All right. But like I said, Laurel Failer set to join us tomorrow, and we'll discuss things from a Cincinnati perspective and get you ready for what is up with Atlanta United. Okay. The rest of Major League Soccer, you haven't had the chance to get into that. So the rest of the show today is going to be the rest of Major League Soccer. We'll get into that for Match Week 4. We've got some news to get into from across the pond, and we'll get into all of that. Plus, we got to welcome Open Cup into 2025. We'll go over the matchups there and see if there's anything that is earth-shattering in those matchups, anything to keep an eye on there, because this is the Pro-Am round. It is, and we'll talk about it the next couple of days. And like I said, if there are any upsets that will happen in a cup set sense, we'll try and effort those folks to be on the morning show the next morning so they can break down how things went in their own universe. So I think that'll be fun to kind of break down here as we welcome our cup sets here to 2025. So the rest of Major League Soccer on the weekend, complete with surprises and things like that. And like I said, we'll get into this maybe a little bit more in depth. We'll kind of talk about things from last weekend with Nico when he comes on Thursday. So today, just to give you an idea, in the Open Cup, we'll be. I was going to talk about the last week of Major League Soccer. I saw the Open Cup matchups and went squirrel. Okay, so Red Bulls and the purple team ended up in a 2-2 draw. And that one was, once again, you get Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting the opportunity to finally get on the board. And that was why we wanted to talk about the penalty call with Bart yesterday and do and Bart's idea, because we saw it happen 2 different calls in 2 different competitions. But Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting scored, and the Red Bulls got on the board as they would hang on for a crazy. And the thing is that this 2-2 scoreline really didn't identify the match. The match was nuts. So Martin Ojeda scored in the 18th. Choupo-Moting got the PK to even things up. Pasalic scored in the 39th, right toward the end of the first half. Then Yengar scored 2 minutes into the second half. It ended up being a 2-2 draw. So not necessarily surprised at the end of the day. I would have thought that the Red Bulls would have taken care of business. They did not completely. Both teams get away with a point. Chicago continues to win. I don't know if it is their schedule. I don't know if it's Greg Berhalter. But right now, Toronto's in trouble. We've kind of been saying that since the absolute beginning of things. But goals by Andrew Gutman and Hugo Kuipers after DeAndre Kerr scored. So literally, you ended up with a you ended up with a goal by DeAndre Kerr in the 11th minute to give you a lead, but you couldn't hang on to it. Lasted all of about 20 minutes. Gutman scores, Kuiper scores, 2-1 at the break, 2-1. Everybody goes home happy. Have a nice trip. Get home safely. So Chicago continues to win. Toronto continues to lose. We'll go over the standings at the end of all of this. Austin beat LAFC in a bit of a surprise at BMO by the score of 1-0. Biro scored in the 12th minute, and that was it. Literally, that was it. Goals scored on the day. LAFC coming back from CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza duty, and they came out with a first-choice lineup. Lloris in net, Hollingshead, Nkosi Tafari, Aaron Long, Sergi Palencia. That's your back line of 4. Timothy Tillman, Igor Jesus, and Mark Delgado. He's Mark now that he's gone uptown. Gotten closer to downtown. He was Marky and Carson. He's uptown, and he's Mark. And then Denny Boanga, Jeremy Abobasi, and Cengiz Under for your 3 in the attack. And it was not a lot of an attack. Austin goes and gets a big win. Brad Stuver, Biro, Svathawk, Brendan Hines-Ike, and John Gallagher with your back 4. Midfield 4, Owen Wolf, Ilie Sanchez, Besard Sabovic, and Osman Bukhari, one of the big pickups in the offseason, both financially and with expectations. And then your two up top, Brandon Vasquez and Mirto Uzuni. Uzuni, Bukhari, and Vasquez. They have a lot of expectations of those three. With Nico Estevez is, remember, he's the new head coach in Austin. But a lot of expectations with the money that they've spent on designated players. Not the only place we've heard that. Stats on the day, once again, just the one goal in the 12th minute, and Austin got the win. But your stats, Austin with a lead in the 12th minute, they kind of just ceded possession, C-E-D-E-D. LAFC had 65% possession, couldn't do anything with it. 17 shots, 3 on target. Austin had 11 shots, 3 on target. So what Austin did in 11, LAFC did in 17. I should probably flip that sentence around. What LAFC did in 17 shots, Austin did in 3. They got the one in the back of the net. 5 blocks for LAFC on the day. Okay, so LAFC, 1 block shot by Austin. 17 shots, 3 on target, 1 block. So that means that there were a lot of shots by LAFC that were not on target. Austin, 11 shots, 3 on target, 5 blocks. So 3 off target, 3 that were not close for Hugo Lloris to lay his mitts on. And also, apparently, Austin doesn't care about passing accuracy. They've kind of devolved into like the Philly Red Bulls discussion. 72% completion on their passes. It's like they don't care. Like I said, they only had possession 36% of the time, and they had completed 72% of their passes. But once again, you got a lead, you don't care. 12 crosses by LAFC. They're just starting to bomb things in. 3 crosses for Austin. You got a lead, you don't care. 3 saves for Stuver, 2 for Lloris, 11 clearances for Austin on the day, which makes a lot more sense. Nothing got to Brad Stuver. 18 fouls called on Austin, by the way. 18. So 18 fouls. What did it get you? Well, I'll tell you. Didn't get you much. 5 yellows for Austin, by the way. And I think that what they're doing is they are kind of employing the same philosophy as a lot of other teams with star power. Like when LAFC had Carlos Vela, what do? You foul Vela, you frustrate him, you slow the whole thing down. Vasquez, Sabovic, Gallagher, Stuver, and Jader Obrian all got yellow cards. Slow them down, you frustrate the ish out of them. Then you have nothing happening. Nothing happening. And LAFC had a lot of nothing happening in that loss. Yeesh. Seriously, 5 yellow cards, 18 fouls, 36% possession. The 1 goal in the 12th minute, you hung on, you got out the door. You literally went to Ralph's or Albertsons. You got what you wanted. Somebody had mislabeled a price tag on a really good slab of meat. It's like they put the wrong price tag on a good porterhouse or something. You sit there and you're looking, you're trying to find something that you can cook quickly because you're in the mood to grill. You look down, you see that there's this really big porterhouse and it's got like a $7 price tag attached to it. You're going, ooh. You got a line mistake. You got a line mistake or a labeling mistake at Ralph's or Albertsons. You saw that slab of meat and you're like, I've got to take this to the front and I've got to check out right now and I'm going to go cook it. You got something that was mislabeled by a clerk. And then you ran out. Wiley's on Stuver. Stuver got undercut, and then he gave a shove and got himself a yellow. So Wiley helping us out in that regard. But basically, Brad Stuver gets undercut. He's not happy about it. And then he got a yellow out of the deal. But, yeah, you frustrate LAFC. You slow them down. And it's just Steve Cherundolo and LAFC right now. It's like I don't know what version you're going to get. I really don't. Are you going to get the one where the field tilts and BMO's a fortress and Denny Bwanga and Jeremy Ebobisi are in full concert with one another, or are they even in full concert yet? You don't have Bogish anymore at LAFC to be paired with Bwanga. He's at Cruz Azul. You brought in Jeremy Ebobisi, hoping that you would end up with a good tag team partner, another Batman and Robin situation, but that hasn't developed yet. I'm sure that Steve Cherundolo is hoping that it does over time, as are the 32-52. But right now, it's not there. And you don't know what LAFC you're going to be getting on a match-by-match basis. Down a goal, 65, 66% possession, you get nothing. 3 shots on target on the entire day. Charlotte beat Cincinnati 2-0. We mentioned the red card that was there that was attached to Cincinnati on the day from Flores in the 83rd minute, but Charlotte had already done their damage. Liel Abada and Patrick Ajimong scoring 2 times in 3 minutes. Charlotte got the Duke on Cincinnati. Big win for them. So stats on the day, 50-50 in possession, 17 shots for Cincinnati, 13 for Charlotte. 8 shots on target, 5 on target for Charlotte, 5 blocks to 4 for Cincinnati. Not a whole lot of crosses, not a whole lot of offside. 3 saves on the day for Cincinnati, 8 for Christian Kalina. You cannot be able to live like that for an entire season. Kalina will do that for you. He'll help you out. I just don't know if that's sustainable. I really don't. Is that sustainable? I'm not so sure. Christian Kalina will be there for you between the sticks as long as you need him, but I would think that there's a point where if you haven't figured things out on your back line, that you might have to figure out what to do there. By the way, speaking of that starting lineup at the back, Ream, Privet, Malanda, Nathan Byrne. That's what we're used to seeing, but legitimately on those edges, I know that Adelson, Malanda, and Privet, that your 2 center backs, the 2 that folks don't want to run at, you can run at Nathan Byrne, and I think you can run at Tim Ream along the edges. I think that that's where your attack can go, at least when you get to the back. You go after the edges in Byrne and Tim Ream. Bronico, Westwood, Pet BL, Liel Abada, Ajimong, and Wilf Zaha. But you look at that lineup, and you wonder once again, is Dean Smith going to have an approach that is going to be markedly different than, hey, Wilf, go long? Don't know. Right now, it's Wilf Zaha runs verts, and you try and pin it down to where he's the one that's not going to hurt you. It's almost to the point to where everybody knows in the building that Charlotte is going to feed Wilf Zaha on a vert. And you're doing it to the detriment of all of the other weapons that you have in that attack. You literally are doing it to the detriment of somebody like a Patrick Ajimong, to a Liel Abada, to a Pep BL. The weapons are there for you, Dean Smith, and so what do you want to do? You want to trust your Premier League guy. You want to trust your Premier League guy in this situation. Not that at surface level you wouldn't sit there and go, well, I've got a guy that played in the Premier League until a couple of years ago. I think I'll make everything run through him. I get it. But remember, Messi and friends singled out Wilf Zaha. 7 fouls. By the way, 52 touches, 79% passing on 26 of 33. 2 for 3 on his long balls. 1 shot on target, 1 shot off, 1 shot blocked, 2 for 5 on the dribble, 4 for 9 on his ground duels. Fouled twice. Only fouled twice. 1 offside, 1 clearance, and 1 dribble pass. He was only offside twice. He was only fouled twice in the matchup against Cincinnati, where Messi and friends compelled to fouled him 7 times. He got frustrated, lobbied for calls. That didn't work well with the officiating crews because that didn't earn him any other calls down the line. So Charlotte, for me, right now, You're going away from what got you where you are offensively. You want to feed the new guy. Fine. We'll foul the new guy and make sure that the old guys, the ones that really can scare you, that you're not using as a part of your integral part of your offense for some reason, are not part of your thought process. Why Patrick Ajimong is not a part of your thought process if you're Dean Smith is beyond me. Cincinnati's starting lineup, by the way. Kubo, Denke, Orejano, Wobodo, Buka, Evander, Engel, Flores, Miles Robinson, and Yedlin. And Roman Celentano in net. You won't have Flores on Saturday. You may not have Miles on Saturday. You won't have Teenage Adibi on Saturday. So you won't have three of the folks that you would traditionally have at the back. Alvis Powell, Corey Baird. I mean, this was a short bench that was pieced together by Cincinnati on the weekend. Evan Loro, backup keeper, Alvis Powell, Sergi Santos, Teenage Adibi, Corey Baird, Brian Anunga, and Dottie Valenzuela. Dottie Valenzuela has given folks problems in the past in MLS Next Pro. Brian Anunga is a walking yellow card. Brian Anunga, when he was in Charleston, he was the guy you wanted on your team. In Nashville, I'm sure he was a guy that you wanted on your team, but he was incredibly physical and going over the line when it came to his physical contact and drawing cards. Much like we would think with Tomas Aviles with Messi and friends, Brian Anunga is the same way. If he starts, he can either get under your skin or you can get under his, and it's a match race to see which emotions are triggered first. Like I said, we'll catch up with Laurel Failer from Queen City Press tomorrow. We'll get her thoughts on what it's going to look like, how out of sorts is it going to look like, because, I mean, there are some pieces here, obviously. You know, Yuya Kubo in the attack. But like I said, no Denke, no Flores, no Robinson, no Hadibi. So that's what you're staring at with Cincinnati. And Michael, to Michael's point, at the end of the day, Charlotte is in fact winning. But what I'm discussing is the sustainability of Charlotte long term. Charlotte in the matchup against Messi and friends, I don't know how against a 10-man team you lost that. I really don't. But Charlotte, yes, Charlotte does have more wins than Atlanta United. Like I said, we'll go over the standings in a bit. But Charlotte should have had a win against the Messi and friends, and they didn't. They had a man advantage against Messi and friends and didn't pull it off. So Messi and friends decide, okay, we're going to foul and frustrate Wolf Zaha. And then Charlotte just decided not to do anything else. We're going to keep feeding him. It's a game you should have won and didn't. So like I said, the sustainability of that plan, that thought pattern, is what I was really kind of getting into. But yes, Charlotte has won matches. DC and Montreal, I apologize for anybody that went to Audi Field. That's 90 minutes of your life you can't get back. NYC and New England probably along the same. NYC ended up with a 2-1 win, and the game was at Yankee Stadium, so it was in the U12 pit. And New England is really hurting. Kansas City and Minnesota, I think, qualifies for the most drunken game of the weekend. Believe it or not, and like I said, I don't know how many of you spent your Saturday night watching games and watching our buddy Kevin Egan on MLS 360. But how many of you, as you might have been looking at scores as they were going across whatever crawl or whatever device you were paying attention to, how many folks out there looked at the score when it was Minnesota leading 3-0, first minute of the second half, and were thinking, oh, crap, Peter Vermes is out of a job? How many of you? I was there. Minnesota was handing it to Sporting Kansas City, and I mean handing it to Sporting Kansas City. Hassani Dotson scored in the 15th. Tani Oluwaseyi, by the way, who was named player of the match day last week, 2 goals. 31st, and 46th. So first minute of the second half, it's 3-0 Minnesota, and we are all kicking dirt on Peter Vermes. Then Daniel Shallowy scores with about 20 to go. It's 3-1. Duggan on an OG 4 minutes later, and it's 3-2. Dejan Joveljic scores with 10 to go, and it's 3-3. And the game was just damn drunk. I mean, literally, it was damn drunk. It wasn't just drunk. It was damn drunk. 12 minutes, 3 goals. Second goal for the Bishop, Dejan Joveljic, with his new club, $4 million in the offseason. And this was one of those deals that the inside the league deal, $4 million. And so Peter Vermes says after the match, I'm probably most disappointed at the end with the fact that after we tied, I think we took our foot off the gas pedal just a little bit. I think we had him at that point. Could have kept going, but for whatever reason, maybe they felt good that they got back into the game, didn't want to give them something away, but we had him. 3 goals in 12 minutes. If you have 6 or 7 minutes, go back and watch this one. Just go back and watch the Major League highlights of that one. Just to give you an idea. I'm going to break down the stats by half. So Sporting Kansas City, in this matchup, which was just beyond stupid. Like I said, literally, if you took it, half at a time, and dating back into preseason, Sporting, by the way, had lost 6 in a row, all comps. So Sporting, I don't want to add Sporting. So your stats, second half stats. Kansas City had 2-1 in possession. Minnesota, by the way, if you believe in the XG category, 1.83 to 0.38. 1.83 in the second half alone on the one goal that was scored. Had other chances to score. Sporting, by the way, in the 3 goals that they scored in the second half, expected goals 0.38. 1 big chance for Sporting, 3 for Minnesota United. 8 total shots to 7 Minnesota United. 11 free kicks to 6 for Sporting. 7 shots on target to 8. 4 shots on target for Minnesota of those 8. 3 shots on target for Sporting Kansas City. All 3 of them ended up in the back of the net. 3 off target, 2 blocks for Minnesota, 1 for Sporting. 6 shots inside the 18 for Sporting, 8 for Minnesota United. Just absolutely silly, crazy, nuts kind of things that you saw here. Defensive stats, second half only. Total tackles, 13 for Sporting, 9 for Minnesota United. Recoveries, about 50-50, 32 to 31. 21 clearances for Minnesota United compared to 12 for Sporting Kansas City. So on those numbers, you're sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, Minnesota was cruising in the second half. Nope. Gave up 3 goals in 12 minutes. And Vermes was mad that he thinks they let the pedal off the gas. I'm guessing they were pretty exhausted. After that comeback and all that momentum and drawing even with 10 to go. So there it is with Sporting in Minnesota. The weirdest, wildest game of the weekend. Vancouver over Dallas 1-0. Big win for Vancouver on the road, especially after CONCACAF Champions Cup in the midweek. So another big win for them. On the road in Dallas where they were a decided underdog. RSL, 2-1 winners over Houston at Hell in a Shell. Big win for RSL on the road, something that we had not anticipated. Juice Boxes had Houston as a prohibitive favorite. St. Louis beat Seattle, and we got into the late penalty call that might have made it 1-1, but the penalty was taken off the board. So all caps went to Seattle and got a 1-0 win. We've been catching up with Nico once again. We'll talk about this again on Thursday specifically with Nico. But your lineup in that match, once again, Arriola out for the year. Jordan Morris, muscle injury. So your lineup, Manungu, Jesus Ferreira, who is not winning people over currently in Seattle, and Albert Rusnak. Obed Vargas playing behind. Basically, it looks like a diamond midfield with 3 attackers, 3 defenders. Rusnak, Ferreira, Menungu. Midfield 4, Obed Vargas, Rothrock, Christian Roldan, and Alex Roldan. Backline of 3, Jackson Reagan, Nuhu, and John Bell with Stephen Fry in net. So not a whole lot of changes or anything like that. Danny Mosovsky on the bench with Andrew Thomas, JP, Danny Leva, Travian Sosa, Cody Baker, Stuart Hawkins, Jacob Castro, and Kalani Kosa Rienzi. So that was what the lineup was involving Seattle. So it was the folks that helped you or tried to help you with the comeback late in CONCACAF Champions Cup were sitting in this one because of the quick turn. Now that they have some space to calm down, we'll see what it looks like. But Seattle should have had a result, didn't get a result, and that's where we are with Seattle. San Diego and Columbus. San Diego continues to surprise. Valakari scores with 20 to go after Columbus got Max Arston to get on the board in the 13th minute. 8 minutes into a man advantage after Malte Amundsen was sent off on a red. So San Diego continues to surprise. Did not have that. I thought the build, I had a lot of questions with San Diego. They're like, okay, fine. Yeah, that's cool. Mikey Veras is like, yeah, we'll do our thing. We'll catch back up to you. Colorado knocked off San Jose 2-1, and yet another surprise on the weekend. You would think that with all of the firepower that San Jose has, that they could stay in a street fight with Colorado. The answer was no. Sunday, once again, Nashville over Philly 3-1. Did not have this one on the card, considering it was at Subaru Park. Nashville had problems scoring goals, and so what happens? Sam Surridge, Kassem, and a PK from Hani Mukhtar, and you're out the door. Lukic scored in the 33rd, and Oluwetu Makanya got a red for Philly at 90+12 at the end of it all. So Nashville finding goals. Didn't know that they had that in them, especially on the road at Philly. Sorry, Rich. And then Portland and L.A. L.A. still trying to figure out how to navigate things without Ricky Puig and with out Paintsel for another couple of weeks. Portland, I know they feel aggrieved after a penalty call did not go their way. But Morris scored. It was goalless at the break. Early kickoff on the West Coast, by the way. Morris scores early in the second half, and then Christian Ramirez scores with about 10 to go, and that's your 1-1 draw there. So, and then obviously the Atlanta result. So now, looking at the standings all the way through Major League Soccer after match week number 4. Miami's on top with 10. Philly with their first 3 wins on the board, 9 points. Columbus at 8. Then you end up with goal difference and things like that. Charlotte, Nashville, Chicago all at 7. Along with NYC. Goal difference is there. And then you had to go to the goals scored tiebreaker for NYC to be in 7th and Chicago in 6th. Cincinnati and DC at 6 points. New York is at 5. Orlando, Atlanta. Right now they're at 4 points each, identical records. Montreal has not won. New England has not won. Toronto has not won. They each have draws, but that's it. Toronto in 4 matches has given up 10 goals. Orlando in 4 matches has given up 10 goals. Chicago in 4 matches has given up 8. Western Conference, Vancouver's run the floor. They've won their first 4. San Diego, once again, 2 wins, 2 draws in their first 4. I did not have that pictured. All caps, 2 wins, 2 draws. Olaf Melberg seems to be having things rolling together. They have not allowed a goal this season in 4 matches. They've only scored 4, but they haven't allowed any. Colorado at 8 points the same way, but they're behind on goal difference. Minnesota's at 7 points. San Jose, Austin, LAFC, and Salt Lake, they're all at 6. Same records. Go to goal difference. And that's where your order is. And then that's the playoff bar. Seattle, Dallas, Portland, all at 4 points, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 1. Goal difference, the difference there. Then Kansas City scrambling from 3 goals down to get 3 to get a point, and that's the only point they have all year. Houston, no wins, 1 draw, 1 point, and then LAG, no wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, and they've only scored twice. Once again, not necessarily a surprise considering the firepower that they don't have right now and trying to figure out what they want it to look like. Starting lineup for them, just so it's out there in the ether. McCarthy in net, Julian Aude, Yoshida, Zanka, and Harbor Miller, your back 4. Isaiah Parente, Edwin Cerrillo, Tucker Lepley, your midfield 3 to start. Diego Fagundes and Miguel Berry siding and Gabriel Peck. I would have figured that there would have been a lot more pressure on Diego Fagundes this season because you don't have Joveljic and you don't have Ricky Puig. And Diego Fagundes right now is not performing, I'm sure, to his own expectation level and to the expectation level of Greg Vanney. The bench, John Nelson, no relation. Eric Zavaleta, C-Ram, who came in for 10 minutes, got you a goal. Ruben Ramos, Yamane, Elijah Winder, Emiro Garces, and Mateus Nascimento. That was your bench for LAFC. So starting McCarthy and not starting Mikovic. So that's LAFC. And that's your standings through match week number 4. Now in hour number 2, time to cut the promos that I didn't cut in hour number 1. And it is a couple of different things that you can do. You can pick up the SDH jersey from our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente across the front, the navy jersey. You can get it personalized. And I would consult with Abby and everybody else who has personalized their jerseys. And thanks to all of you who have picked them up from Olive and York, because it goes to help out our Soccer for Good causes here in 2025. So check the jersey, see which one you like. I didn't personalize mine because I'm not big on personalizing it. So you can go white lettering or Carolina blue lettering on the navy jersey. Go to Olive and York and you can help out our Soccer for Good plots and plans for 2025. Collaboration that we have with Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. You've seen me wear it on the air. You've probably seen me wear it in person. The Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta sweatshirt. Get it in red, get it in black. The gold embossed saying on the front. SDH notification right here. Grady Baby notification right here. They're helping us out with a collaboration this year. And if you purchase through Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co., then you're helping out the middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta Public School System. So that's a collaboration that we have with Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co., in addition to our friends at Olive and York. Also, what you can do, and I have to find a time to go to the post office in addition to get a wheel alignment. And that's sidebar. Once again, sidebar. How many times have you gone, you and the collective, how many times have you gone to get your oil done, just get some basic maintenance on a car, and they end up telling you, well, no, you need X, Y, or Z in addition to it. You need to get a wheel alignment. You need to get your tires changed. You need to get, this is looking a little low. I don't know about this. How many times have you folks gone to get regular car maintenance and they end up trying to upsell you something else? After you think about it for a little bit, you're kind of sitting there going, well, yeah, you might be right. And me, and full disclosure, when it comes to car maintenance, I'm not a person that needs to be consulted. I know that surprises a lot of you. But when it comes to automobiles, I'm good about basic maintenance, especially since the cars that I now have are newer than the ones that I've had in the past. I mean, remember that when I had the Beast, it lasted for practically 18 years. I had it for the final 6, But nevertheless, I became somewhat vigilant about, doing regular maintenance and things like that with that car, considering that I had, all the gazillions of thousands of miles on it. So I had to think about being more vigilant. But now that I have newer automobiles, I have to be even that much more vigilant, much like Michael. Michael's like always I always get an upsell when I end up going to get car maintenance. So this last time when I went and got an oil change and didn't know how long it was going to take, second sidebar in a second. But they're like, yeah, we're looking at your car and you need to get a wheel alignment. So I probably have that in my future either today or tomorrow, depending on how motivated I am. So I was just curious if I was the only one who was, while they were getting regular maintenance, they're like, oh, we saw this. Because traditionally when I go and get maintenance done, I will sit there and it's like there are places where you can get your basic maintenance checks, like they'll check your fluids, check your tires, check your pressures, those kinds of things. So I get that as a part of the deal, and then they still tried to upsell me a wheel alignment, which I probably begrudgingly agree with them on, but I've got to go back and get things done in that regard. So that's kind of where things are involving the Subaru as opposed to where they were involving the Beast. And so it's I didn't know if I was, and I go to a national chain. I do have a mechanic for other things. I mean, like the real deep stuff that needs to be taken care of. I do have a personal mechanic, and I love him dearly. He's fantastic at what he does. But just for like basic maintenance, because it's a lot closer to the house and to the office than it would be by going to my mechanic, I'll go to this particular place, get all the basic maintenance taken care of, and then it recycles and all the way through. Michael, I'm right there with you, brother. He says, I get such a relief when the shop doesn't call for approval for something else. Yes, I agree. Profoundly agree. It's like you sit there, you keep your head low, and it's like, all right, just get me out of there in one piece. It's like, I know that this might need to be done. Literally, just like, don't talk to me about it. I know. I'll figure it out. So, but yeah, that was sidebar number one. I forgot what my sidebar number two was. Inside of sidebar number one, I had a sidebar number two, but now I've forgotten it. Of course, I need to write this stuff down. But anyway, it'll probably come to me like at a really random point of the show. So, like I said, I was just trying to figure out if I was by myself, if they looked at me and they sat there and he went, yeah, this dude really doesn't know anything about cars. We pretty much could tell him anything. Be like, you need a new Flezen wattage generator plug thing. And I'd be like, okay, sure. Because we all need our new Flezen wattage to be monitored on a daily basis. So I don't know. I'm that guy who literally would go, if I needed something, and I am so poor at this, if I needed something done to the house and the decision was truly on me or a house that I was living in, I literally would thank God we have a handyman. But I would be the kind of guy that would sit there. If I had to go to Home Depot, I would sit there and be, nope. Yeah, I'd be like, I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong. The guy at the Home Depot wearing the orange smock, or the Ace Hardware, he's wearing the red bib, the red apron or whatever. Look, they'd see me and look, I've got a big old sign on my forehead that says sucker, and I know I do. I know I do. I don't know the damnedest thing about anything when it comes to home repair. Do not. Michael, you're probably not wrong. I needed a new flux capacitor. You're probably not wrong. But when it comes to anything involving manual labor or things that need fixing or anything like that, it's either buy a new one, even if it's the slightest thing that's wrong and it's like maybe a $10 fix. Yeah, I sure as hell can't fix that. Time to get a new one. Or become a victim of my own lack of foreknowledge And I literally could go into a place where the dude with the red apron or the dude with the orange apron goes, yeah, you need a new flux capacitor. I'd be like, okay. $400 later, you sign your life away. I'm that guy. That's why traditionally the boss is the one that handles all of that kind of handiwork. She's the one that knows who to talk to, where to go, what to do. She's better at using tools than I am. She's better at fixing things than I am. Across the board, she's better at those kinds of things. So I am if you want to make money off of me, I am the first person you want to see wandering into a hardware store or a home repair store. But that's why I don't wander into them, because I know I'm a sucker and don't know the damnedest thing about any of it. So literally, it's like car repair, nope. Basic maintenance, I know I can take care of that. I just go to my mechanics. That's just literally how it goes. I'm like, no clue, no idea, none whatsoever, zero clue. Sucker right across my forehead. He'll empty out his wallet for you. Just walk up to him. Tell him he needs something. Okay. Literally, that is me in the home repair store and in the car repair outlet. That is literally what I am. I'm that guy. I mean, literally, I'm sure that all of the home repair and the hardware stores and all the places that have to do with that kind of thing, I bet you they have their own little red phones or their own little secret Morse code that they send to one another, like, little emails and bulletin boards, Discords. In the old days, they were bulletin boards. Now they're Discords. They probably have their own Discord that's labeled John Nelson. Hey, he was just in here, dude at the hardware store. Hey, he was just in here buying this, and this. I'll send him your way because I told him that he needs this. Guarantee you that they have their own Discord when it comes to home repair and car repair and anything repair, making sure that I go from store to store paying whatever I'm supposed to pay for things that I don't know I need, I don't think I need, but it sounded good at the time. And, well, the house is kind of creaky. It's like I'll walk down the stairs and I hear noises. Well, I don't know. I'll have to come in and look at that. Literally, it's almost like the scene in Sleeping in Seattle, where the woman is having her home remodeled, and Tom Hanks and Rob Reiner are there, and they're looking at the blueprints and everything. And the woman comes in and she's looking at the house, and she likes the repairs and everything, but she's wondering about when she can have people entertained. It's like, hey, when can I get back into my house? I've got some parties planned up. And Tom Hanks goes, I don't know, might be another 6 weeks. And then you hear Rob Reiner go, well, months. 6 months? 6 months? Absolutely, yes. It's going to take that much longer. Oh, I don't know what it's going to cost, but we'll piece it together. One of those. I'm that person. I'm the person that walked into the house, saw all the interior home decorating and remodeling, and was like, how long is this going to take? And then I believe the Rob Reiner character, when the Tom Hanks character falls in line. I'm that person. I'm the person that owns the home that is wondering when the interior decorating is going to be done. And then you tell me whatever, and I'm like, okay. Then you just kind of go about your business, and by the time you're done, you open up your wallet and you go, man, my Amex is smoking. What happened there? But yeah, literally, that's me. That is me on a daily basis. I am the last person that needs to go into anything involving home repair or maintenance, and the first person you want to see in a store involving home repair or maintenance or car. So, bet you didn't think that your MLS weekend review was going to go and follow through all of that stuff, did you? But that's where we go here on the show. Once again, reminder, Atlanta United 2 got the point going up against Orlando City B last weekend. Great goal at the end. It initially ended up as a Luke Brennan goal with Ryan Carmichael in front, and it ended up with an early goal there for Atlanta United 2. as they were going up against Orlando City B. I would run the highlights, like I said, but that goes back to my first problem of the day with the lack of gig space that I have on my desktop. But anyway, Luke Brennan scored in the 30th. Ronan Wynn scored with 12 to go. For those of you that might have been keeping an eye on it over at MLSNextPro.com. And it's a big point on the road for Atlanta United. By the way, Atlanta United, obviously, they missed their first two PKs with Carmichael and Mazzaferro, but then Rodrigo Neri scored. Third round of the PKs. Orlando City went 4 for 4, won it in the top of the fourth. Atlanta United, too, had 20 shots. 20. 6 on target, 5 blocks, 2 blocks for Orlando City B. 86% passing on 20 shots. 3 saves on the day for Jaden Hibbert. 31 fouls were called, 14 on Atlanta United, too. And Alejo Kalume was the man in the middle. But for Atlanta United, too, and Steve Cook, just to let you know, going into this matchup, because of everything that was needed with the first team, Rodrigo Neri, Moises Tablante, who you might remember last year from FC Cincinnati 2, Ryan Carmichael, who played with Messi and Friends 2 last year, Luke Brennan, that's your front four. Then you had Cooper Sanchez and Braden Dunham, 2 academy guys in your midfield, playing in front of DCQ, Ronan Wynn, Salvatore Mazzaferro, and Nick Sesak, who was also last year at Messi and Friends 2 with Jaden Hibbert in net. You had a 4-position player bench and John O'Ransom. And you went down to Osceola Heritage Park and you got a point. Patrick Weah was on the bench. He's still trying to get to full song when it comes to being a participant for Steve Cook and the Twos. Aiden Torres was there. Also, Kovac and Majub from the academy were there. So you had 2 academy kids, Aiden Torres, Patrick Weah, and John O'Ransom on your bench. And you went down to Orlando City B and got a point. Sam Goldfarb was on the call for that one for MLS Next Pro. So after a handful of matches, like literally it's just the first 2 matches of the season, and the next match coming up for Atlanta United 2 is Chattanooga FC on the 30th up at Kennesaw. So big matchup. The Chattahooligans are going to be there. All the Chattanooga FC fans are going to be there. We would ask now with 12 days notice that you be as well. I think. Yeah, the 30th. Yeah, so 12 days notice. So, once again, 2 matches, 1 point, got that point on the road. And Chattanooga's out of the blocks, 2 wins in their first 2 matches. And they have scored 3, and they've only given up 1. So, right now, they're on top. Revs 2, NYCFC 2, Orlando City B, Red Bulls 2. That's your top 5 in the Eastern Conference in MLS Next Pro. Okay. Getting into all of the other news and things, and there's plenty of other news and things to get into this morning. And as I was taking the tour of, there are places that I will look in the morning, and you sit there and go, yeah, I got to talk about that. Yeah, I got to talk about that. Yeah, I got to talk about that. All those kinds of different things that we've got to get into. And you did have a couple of rounds of stupidity down here. Jean-Philippe Mateta did come out publicly for the first time in an interview situation and discussed what happened in the challenge that we're still waiting to hear from the FA and find out, okay, you really do need to be suspended, Millwall keeper, for more than just a handful of matches. But also a couple of other things from the world in and around. The Premier League is going to delay the use of new offside technology after a record VAR holdup. And they mean that in a time sense, not in a positive way. Matt Hughes at The Telegraph. Premier League has further delayed the introduction of semi-automated offside technology after the 8-minute VAR check in the FA Cup tie between Bournemouth and Wolves. The technology that was in 7 of the 8 fifth-round ties failed, and this is the wording from Matt Hughes of The Guardian. The technology failed at the vitality owing to what sources described as a, quote, congested penalty area, end quote. So basically, what you're saying is this. As I become hydrated again. So what you're telling me is this. You have semi-automated offside technology. You tried to employ it, but because of too many people inside the 18, the semi-automated offside technology did not work. And this led to the VAR making 3 checks in the first half on the goal by Milos Kerkez, and that was finally disallowed for being offside. The reason we say this now is because the plans for semi-automated offside technology were supposed to be put in the Premier League after the international break. That is now not going to be the case. The FA has confirmed it's going to hold another trial in 3 of the FA Cup quarterfinals and continue to use it in the semis and the final. Preston have been drawn against Aston Villa in the quarters, and as a championship club, do not have the capacity to operate the system. Premier League sources indicated they would like to implement semi-automated offside technology this year, but they would need support of the clubs. Earliest it could be introduced is the first weekend of April. Clubs are questioning whether a significant change should be brought in with 8 games remaining. Clubs voted unanimously to introduce semi-automated offside technology last April, scheduled to be brought in last October, but in-stadium testing revealed problems with its accuracy that were not resolved until last month. The system had not been deemed ready to go. PGMOL's chief refereeing officer at the time, Howard Webb, wanted the technology introduced, but then it was going to no longer be the case. Further technology was undertaken and further analysis was given. They had chosen the PGMOL in the Premier League. They'd chosen a system developed by Genius Sports over the products provided by Hawkeye. The officials had hoped that the technology could reduce time and confirm offside decisions in the event of VAR intervention by more than 30 seconds. Clubs were reminded of their commitment to improving player behavior. Clubs were given a presentation by the chief football officer at the time, Tony Scholes. And so it was a part of a larger discussion that it was pulled off the table. Improving the performance of VAR system not set for use. They didn't specifically say what the issues were, but they claimed that whatever those issues were resolved last month. Tony Scholes admitted to having severe doubts, in quotation marks, over the viability of semi-automated offside technology last month, and a number of concerns remain given the controversy surrounding VAR. According to Hughes, there is some reluctance at the league to invite more criticism, especially with as many matches as there are, and where the standings currently reside when it comes to the Premier League. We'll go over those in a sec. It has been claimed that SAOT reduces the waiting time for decisions to 30 seconds because the lines are drawn automatically, so there was some embarrassment about that trial leading to the longest VAR check in English football. The FA had warned before the trial that marginal offside decisions and crowded goal mouths could prove too tight for the new technology to detect. At Bournemouth, after the all clear regarding a handball, offside check began, but the technology didn't work. Home fans got to sing a bunch of things. The delay was more than 2 minutes longer than the previous VAR record of 5:37 during a game between West Ham and Aston Villa last year. So there was a thought that you're going to have semi-automated offside technology, but then not so fast. Not happening. Speaking of the championship, you'll remember Milutino's Zmajic has now been officially charged by the FA. March 17. He's now officially been charged over alleged racial abuse of Hannibal Mabry. He's got a week to respond. It was Preston and Burnley back in February. Osmaic alleged to have made a racist comment towards Hannibal Mabry on Monday. A month. It took you a month to sort this out. Did you put it at the back of your syllabus? Is it just in order of the orders received? Serving number 27. Oh, yes, this is Osmaic v. Mabry. Pull the number. Sit there in the waiting room. Serving number 27. Number 27. Monday, a month. The FA confirmed that Osmaic had been charged with acting in an improper manner under FA Rule E3 and had until next Tuesday to respond. So a week from today. Statement on the website said that Osmaic has been charged with breaching the rule, alleged that the forward acted in an improper manner and or used abusive and or insulting words toward an opposing player, contrary to FA Rule E3.1 paragraph. Further alleged that this constitutes an aggravated breach, which is defined in FA Rule 3.2, E3.2, as it includes a reference, whether express or implied, to color and or race. Osmaic has a week to respond. Statement on Preston's website acknowledges the FA's charge, adding that Osmaic continued to strongly deny the allegations. Providing an official response to FA charges in due course until such a time where the case has been concluded, the club will be making no further comment. For those that might remember, Osmaic scored in the match. It was a 3-0 win over Burnley. The teams that had met 9 changes from the last outing out there. So Hannibal Mabry said that he received disgusting abuse back on February 17. Midway through the second half, Osmaic, involved in an exchange with Mabry, informed the referee of the incident and later posted on social media. At the time, Mabry said, quote, "I will not be silent about what happened today. I will always call out racism whenever I hear or see it. That is the only way we change as a sport and a society. I'm a strong person, but nobody should have to experience this disgusting abuse on the pitch," end quote. Kick It Out had a statement at the time as well, as did the Officials Association. So Miliutin officially charged by the FA. Word out of FIFA that and this is from our friends at Reuters. And I know this will shock you. Women's players face a stark pay divide with average salaries of less than $11,000, according to a FIFA report. Female annual players' salary across the globe averages $10,900 US, and 1 in 5 head coaches at professional clubs are women. FIFA's annual report on the women's game. Among the teams FIFA designated as Tier 1, which include 41 clubs, 16 countries, average salary around $24,030. Although 16 of those paid an average gross of over $50,000. Highest of those salaries, approximately $120,000. Average gross salary at Tier 2 and Tier 3 clubs, $4,361 and $2,805, respectively. Tier 1 clubs also featured the longest player contracts, 1 to 3 years, salaries for the highest contracts of 2 to 3. Tier 3 teams, most likely of the tiers to offer contracts under 3 months. FIFA report also highlighted attendances as an area of concern. Arsenal and Manchester United, the WSL record, 60,160 at the Emirates. Tier 1 teams averaged 1,713 fans. Tiers 2 and 3, 480 and 380. 480, 380. Arsenal, among the top quarter of the clubs, played some matches at a stadium other than their regular ground, playing 5 home league matches at the Emirates and the rest at Meadow Park, a seating capacity of 1,700, total capacity of 4,500. Women underrepresented in coaching roles. 22% of head coaches across all tiers being female, more gender equity among officials. 42% of the refs being female, 57% in Tier 1 to 25 and 2 and 3. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said the report helps clubs, leagues, and stakeholders gain a better understanding of the factors that drive success. Quote, the strides made in recent years have been remarkable, but there is still more work to be done to unlock its full potential. Today, I feel potential. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I'm sure that's what was. I'm sure that was what was going through his mind. Chelsea, once again, we talk about stupidity down here. Online racist abuse with Wesley Fofana. Club came out in support of Fofana, and they are appalled by online racist abuse. Cole Palmer, by the way, speaking of Chelsea, is going to miss the international games because remember, he was dinged and didn't play this past weekend in the Premier League match. And so he's going to miss the international window as well. Like we said, Jean-Philippe Mateta came and had an interview for the first time ever since the incident. Had his own. He had a bunch of he had a press opportunity. Is what we're trying to say. But yeah, Jean-Philippe Mateta had his first press conference after the fact, and he said that literally, if his head had turned, a handful of degrees, then he could have passed. Literally, he could have passed. He said. I know it was scary to see that, and the FA is still under consideration for that particular incident. What is the FA going to say about it? Mateta said, my ear was destroyed. Gary Jacob at the Times said he would have suffered a more serious facial injury if he hadn't turned his head at the last second. 25 stitches to the ear after being caught by the Millwall keeper during the 5th round FA Cup tie back on March the 1st. Training alone, hopes to get permission from the club's doctor to join full sessions within the next week. Said he would need to wear a special mask to protect his ear if he were to meet his target of returning on the quarterfinal away to Fulham on March 29th. Mateta told L'Equipe, I was afraid I'd have broken bones or blood in my brain, but in fact, my ear was just destroyed. At the last moment, I had the reflex to turn my face. I was lucky because if I hadn't, I would have taken his right foot in the head, and it would have been much worse. After that, I never lost consciousness. I was lying on the ground, and I said to the doctor, I'm fine, I want to play again. But he, seeing my ear, replied, no, you have to go. Surgery the same day. Mateta, a plastic surgery specialist, came and took pictures of my ear, which he refused to show me so as not to let them stay in my head. Obviously, it didn't look like an ear anymore. At the beginning of the operation, the surgeon had a lot of trouble, but afterwards he explained to me he found a way to save my ear. He did a hell of a job, end quote. Mateta's mother traveled from Paris to help him at home, where he spent time watching films and reading books such as Mario Puzo's The Godfather. Don't know if he's picking up any Corleone family ideas. Joined Palace in training camp in Marbella last week. Had the bandage removed, looking for a behind closed door friendly later this week as they didn't have a match last weekend. Unclear if Mateta could play. Mateta, quote, I have to be careful to prevent it from getting infected. I have to wash it every time I sweat. Next week, I should be able to participate in training matches, but for that, I'll need a mask while my ear finishes healing. I've been sent several models. I'll have to choose between those that just cover the ear and others that cover the whole face. And in the past with athletes, we have seen, and we've seen it in basketball, I think, more than anybody else, and it has to do really with the orbital bone when we see masks here as the mask that would cover the whole face. I legitimately don't know what the cover device would look like for just the ear. I don't know if it's, something that would be just kind of off to the side, or some kind of a wrap bandage that you have around your head and then it's anchored and then it covers your ear. I don't know. I have no earthly idea unless it's like I mean, the only thing I could think of is just something like the equivalent of a horse blinder was applied to where it protected the ear, but you could still have the ear function with air holes and such. I mean, I will be intrigued to see the licensed devices that would be in touch with everything that's there associated with that injury. I'm intrigued. I mean, if Mateta says it's something that would have to cover his whole face, traditionally when we see the orbital bone breaks, it literally is just like the Lone Ranger mask where it covers everything on the front, but it acts normally and drapes over the ears. I don't know if you can take what we're associating with an orbital bone and move it to the side. I'm intrigued, and I want to see what the device would be, frankly, for something like this. This will end up as legitimately. This will legitimately end up as I'm sure that's not really a first that you want, but when it comes to the technology that's associated with protecting the human body, we know certain things can go in certain places, but when it's offset, how different is it? Like I said, the only thing I can think of is something akin to a horse blinder or something that's like a, um, like in wrestling where you have the wrestling earpieces that cover over the ear. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is that if you take something like an amateur wrestling headpiece and have it go over, might have to go over both ears just for the sake of keeping it attached and keeping it on your person. But that's the only thing I can think of is short of a horse blinder taking the wrestling the ear protection, the helmet protection over the ears from amateur wrestling and doing something like that. Yeah, like a rugby ear protector. Yeah, and that's the other thing that is it a helmet? But once again, is it going to get too sweaty? And then you have to sit there and you keep paying attention to it or something like that. And so, I mean, David, Michael, I think you're right there. It's like which one of these does it look like? To keep it from getting infected, you got to keep washing every single time that you sweat, and you're going to be sweating in this device, whatever it is. And so then you have to wash it every 45 minutes or something and be vigilant about that. Like I said, this whole process to me, I'm going to be intrigued as to how this gets pulled off. I really am. It's gonna be an interesting thing that we navigate than we see with Mateta. 12 league goals this year considered for his first France call-up. Roberts was sent off. 30-year-old had his ban doubled to 6 matches by a regulatory commission after the FA submitted a claim that the sanction was clearly insufficient. Roberts has apologized to Mateta via text. I told him, don't worry, it's not that serious. He could have avoided doing that, but these things happen. Also, Palace is confirming that Dougie Friedman is leaving the club to take up a role abroad. It looks like he might be heading to a team in Saudi Arabia. Premier League is going to go back to the Puma ball next year. The Carabao Cup semifinal, the ball that drove Mikel Arteta crazy, that's going to be in the Premier League next year. So it will be a Puma ball and not a Nike ball. And Mikel Arteta hated that ball. The Puma ball, hated it. Absolutely hated it. 25-year association with Nike in the Premier League, bye-bye. Hey, look at this. It's a new ball that Puma's put out. And Arteta specifically blamed the new ball from Puma for all of the shooting woes that they had in the Carabao Cup semifinal. Starts this summer. New ball is going to be unveiled for the summer series. So we will get the first opportunity here in the United States to see this new ball and how it behaves. For the first time in my life, I'm refraining from being a 12-year-old. Because there are too many jokes right now that could be said. I'm not going to say one of them. Puma ball is also used in La Liga and Serie A. After the semifinal loss to Newcastle, Mikel Arteta said, quote, I think we kicked a lot of balls over the bar, and it's tricky that this ball flies a lot. It's just different. It's just very different to the Premier League ball. You have to adapt to that because it flies different. When you touch it, the grip is very different as well, so you have to adapt to that. EFL said in response that the ball had undergone all the required FIFA tests and that there had been no other complaints. The deal with Puma is going to be for the next 6 years. How do you sit there and kvetch about how do you kvetch about a ball? And then you're like, yeah, this ain't working. And literally, so is this on Arteta or is this on Puma? I mean, obviously, in a situation like this, if you lose, you're going to sit there and just say something to try and deflect from the actions of your club. But so Mikel Arteta in the Carabao Cup semifinal crashes out to Newcastle as Alex gets his first trophy in a while. 1969, I think. And how do you not were you not given appropriate warm-up time with these new Puma balls in this semifinal? Like, you're out there on the pitch an hour before. Don't you notice, hey, man, things are a little different? Aren't things a little different? I would think things might be a little different, and then you notice that, and then you sit there and you would accommodate for it, but Arsenal didn't? Newcastle would go on to win, obviously, and then they would go ahead and flip it and continue to win, and they ended up winning a trophy. And Darren Neal's photo, by the way, tremendous. Everything that Darren and his family have been going through with health-wise, and no real updates. But the fact that Darren got to sleep with another trophy, very, very cool. But if you're losing and you blame the ball, and then the first thing that the league that you play for is bring that ball back into play, it's an odd duck here. So Mikel Arteta, he loses, he blames the ball, and now the first thing happens. It's like, it's just like when you in the old sitcoms, it's like when you're in your house and it's like, maybe like in the Christmas, was it the Christmas Vacation? It's like when Randy Quaid comes to your house, if you were Chevy Chase and Randy Quaid comes by, and it's like you think you got rid of him, but then all of a sudden you hear a knock on the door and he's back. He just had to go out to his RV to get something. Just when you thought you were through with Randy Quaid and your Chevy Chase, and all of a sudden Randy Quaid didn't leave. Is that like the Puma soccer ball to Mikel Arteta? Man, I'm glad that we're done with that thing. Knock on your door. Mr. Arteta, sir. You open the door, and then there's a Puma ball that's on your welcome mat in front of your house, and you're like, bah! As we go inside, we go inside the we go inside the Arteta household here, and you hear that. It's literally that's what you get in this situation. You get Mikel Arteta and he sees the Puma ball and you're like, yeah, that. So that's my guess as to how things were for Mikel Arteta when he found out that the Puma ball that he had to play with and lost with is now going to be there in the next 6 years. Good for you, Mikel Arteta. Good work. So just when you once again, it's all about the Benjamins. All about the Benjamins. And I know that this will shock you, and that scream that you probably heard is Drew Dickinson. Manchester United, they had a price increase in their season tickets. A 5% rise for the third straight year. 5% rise for the third straight year comes after Sir Jim Ratcliffe claimed only his 230 million pounds kept the club going, and the supporters are calling for the Glazers for help. United fans branded the 5% increase in season ticket prices as offensive. Claim the Glazer family should be dipping into their own pockets to help ease the club's financial problems instead. Oh, no. This is debt financing. That's kind of like what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is up to. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, in that interview that he made the rounds with Gary Neville, if he hadn't injected the $230 million, then the club would have run out of money. 25-26 campaign, an adult season ticket will cost anywhere from $608 to $1,121. United said season ticket holders would pay on average £2.50 more per match. Prices for the under-16s have been frozen. Club have slashed OAP discounts from 50% to 25% for the first time. Games for non-season ticket holders will be categorized. Makes sense. Bigger matches against rivals and neighbors costing more. That's just what we call it. What we have for a walk-up. United had frozen season ticket prices for 11 straight years, but Omar Barada, the club's CEO, cited an increase in operational costs, such as rising energy prices and the club's financial issues, as the reason why they were asking fans to fork out, even though they have endured the season that they have endured. 13th place currently. And you still have Glazers out all over the place. As part of Ineos's drive to raise more revenue, a few hundred fans who sit near the dugouts will be turfed out and moved elsewhere because United realized they can sell those seats for several times their present price as part of a hospitality package. Fans affected will be offered a new seat elsewhere. Those who replace them will eat in the hospitality suite in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand before kickoff. Lowest price for the new adult season ticket outside of designated families for Arsenal, £1,073. Lowest prices right now, West Ham at $345. Manchester City, by the way, lowest price to get in at $425 for an adult season ticket. Lowest price, Manchester City, $425 for a season ticket. Ipswich and Leicester hanging. Ipswich at $372. Leicester just over $400. Manchester City at $425. Manchester City at $425. By the way, their lowest season ticket adult is less than Southampton's. Change from year to year right now for the ones that have been announced. Brighton's up 2.5%. Brentford's is constant. Everton's up 15% because, of course, you're at Bramley Moore Dock. Same for Leicester, same for Liverpool, same for Spurs, same for West Ham and Wolves. Manchester United up 4.8%. Newcastle up 5%. Nottingham Forest up 4.6%. And season ticket holders went to the Glazers to ask for help. I don't know if you saw this. We'll talk about Open Cup here in a second. And with what we're seeing here, I don't know. There are times where you might need a little quality control, just a little. We'll get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all those things coming up in a second. A Bulgarian club apologized after a minute's silence for an ex-player who is still alive. Bulgarian side Arda Karjali paid tribute to Petko Ganchev, which came as a shock to the 78-year-old when he arrived home to watch the game on television. A top Bulgarian football team has apologized for holding a minute's silence for him. Arda Karjali, who are fifth in the Bulgarian league, paid tribute to him before the kickoff against Levski Sofia. Before the game had even ended, the club put out an embarrassing message confirming that Ganchev was, in fact, still alive. 2 sentences. They apologized. Ganchev told television station BTV he poured himself a glass of schnapps when he heard about the mishap. He said, quote, "I never miss watching Arda's matches on television. This time I was about 10 minutes late for the game against Levski because I had some work to do as I was driving home. My phone started ringing a lot, but I was driving and didn't dare answer. I entered the garden. My wife greeted me in tears. She said, Petko, they've announced on TV that you've passed away. I couldn't understand what she was saying or what had happened." Arda got a point against Levski, second in the table because of an 82nd minute goal by Stanislav Ivanov. Happened back in 2009. Happened back in 1993. So it's not the first time it's happened, but it's the most recent time that it's happened. Petko Ganchev in Bulgaria, still alive. All right. Time to get some juice boxes in because it is the return of the Open Cup tonight. And like I said, what we will do is we will monitor the Open Cup. We're going to keep an eye on the Open Cup. And we will, if there are any cup sets, we will try and track down those folks over the next couple days. And we will lay it all out for you when it comes to Open Cup. This is the pros versus amateurs. So it's pros versus Joes. And we have 3, 6, 9, 11 matchups tonight with juice boxes. Hartford Athletic, a -179, hosting New York Shockers. The Miami FC at 7 o'clock, hosting Naples United. The Miami FC is at a -182. Red Wolves on the road, -114 at New Jersey Alliance. Sarasota Paradise, and we need to catch up with them because they are moving forward in their leagues designations on the USL side. They've announced that they are going to be moving up in divisions. They are a big underdog at home against FC Naples. FC Naples, a -200. Sarasota Paradise, +438. One of the more intriguing matchups of the night, Asheville City, Greenville Triumph. Greenville's a +106. Asheville City is a +190. 190-minute draws a +256. I like the draw in that one because I think it's going to take a while. FC Motown hosting Westchester Flames at a +208. I don't know what the FC Motown roster is going to look like. Westchester's a +104. Westchester United, 3 words. Another team that does really well in the NPSL ranks, taking on Loudoun United. Loudoun favored at a -111. Texoma FC plays their first ever organizational match at a -135 at home, hosting Foro SC at a +280. We might check in with Texoma tomorrow. That might not be a bad idea. Tulsa Athletic and FC Tulsa. You want to talk street fight? FC Tulsa and Tulsa Athletic. There are some sore bones at Tulsa Athletic. Just ask owner Sonny D'Alessandro about life in the NPSL, where they are now, I think they're in the league for clubs, taking on FC Tulsa. FC Tulsa +123. I think that one might go for a while. I think that D'Alessandro and Tulsa Athletic, they may sit there and it's like, you know what, we're just going to make this as difficult as possible. Turn it into a kickabout. Try to gin up some anger and angst at a +165. Late night, AV Alta and Ventura. AV Alta -127, played their first match ever in club history in Statesboro on the weekend, and now they got to fly back and play Tuesday night in Open Cup, taking on Ventura at a +252. It'll be cool to see what the former home of the Lancaster Jethawks looks like with the conversions that have been made to it into a soccer stadium. And Ventura County hosting Laguna United at a -111. Laguna United a +199. 90-minute draws a +318. 5 more matches tomorrow, including the Des Moines Menace and all of the menacers. BWP, Dax McCarty, Justin Miram, Ozzy Alonso, Mikey Ambrose, all of them getting to travel to take on Sporting Kansas City 2, and they're a +204. Des Moines Menace are a +204 tomorrow night against Sporting Kansas City 2. Columbus Crew 2, New York Renegades, Chattanooga FC, Corpus Christi FC, App FC taking on One Knox, Inter Miami 2, Messi and Friends 2 taking on Miami United in another intriguing matchup, probably at the Erector set. And right now that one's at a -139. But obviously tomorrow we'll go over all the juice boxes in that one too. But 11 matches tonight in U.S. Open Cup, and you can watch them on YouTube, and you can go to the Open Cup site and all of that. So keep an eye on all of those, and we will let you know what else is going on with all of that. So 11 matchups tonight. We'll keep an eye on Open Cup as well heading into tomorrow. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. So obviously it's going to be a light day, but obviously you can watch all the Open Cupage that you can and all the Open Cupage that you desire. Once again, tomorrow, Laurel Failer, Queen City Press, is going to join us. Tyler Pilgrim is set to join us as well. And we'll figure out the dynamics because I think Laurel has to join us before practice. And it might be Laurel and Tyler and me and you asking questions about FC Cincinnati from 9:30 until a little before 10 o'clock. So your football gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Liverpool have made contact with people close to Alexander Isak before a potential summer move. That's from Fabrizio Romano. So that means that it's Isak's agent because Isak has to have plausible deniability. Or it could have been Mo Salah maybe shaking hands with him after a match. I mean, literally, it could be the fact that, after the Carabao Cup, people went up and shook Isak's hand. It could have been Mo Salah post-match handshake. That's what it could be with Fabrizio Romano, but I think it's a little more involved with that. But what it could be, the way it was phrased, that Liverpool had made contact with people close to Newcastle's Alexander Isak. Hey, Dan Burns standing next to Alexander Isak. I'll shake his hand. Therefore, Liverpool made contact with someone close to Alexander Isak. I'll go shake Eddie Howe's hand. He's standing next to Alexander Isak. That's what maybe that means. It means a little bit more than that. United have raised their asking price for Marcus Rashford, whose form on loan at Villa has earned him an England recall. Wolves keeping an eye on Diogo Jota's situation at Liverpool, weighing up a move to bring him back to Molyneux this summer. Can they afford him? Manchester United monitoring Eintracht Frankfurt forward Hugo Ekitike and RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Seschko. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Sports Germany. AC Milan will permanently sign Kyle Walker in the summer, but not look to keep Joao Felix, currently on loan from Chelsea. That's from Gazzetta dello Sport. Liverpool plan to move more than a quarter billion pounds in the summer on signing Julian Alvarez, Xavi Simon, and Alessandro Bastoni. That's from Fichajes. Liverpool also among the clubs monitoring Bayer Leverkusen's Jeremy Frimpong as they see him as a potential replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Calvin Phillips pushing for a return to Leeds following his loan spell at Ipswich. Eddie Howe gets a £3 million bonus if Newcastle qualifies for the Champions League next year. Real Madrid and Barca set to miss out on 18-year-old Malaga forward Antonio Cordero, with Newcastle now the number one favorite to sign him, the U19 international. Liverpool ahead of Newcastle, Spurs, and Chelsea in the race to sign Mark Gahey. Villa may sign Enzo Barnechea to Valencia in the summer following a loan spell there. Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal have all been watching River Plate winger 17-year-old Franco Mastantuono, who has a release clause of about £35 million. And Spurs have identified Marco Silva and Andoni Iraola as their top targets should they part ways with Ange Postecoglou. Bill Foley is sitting down with Andoni Iraola as we speak over either yesterday or the next couple of days to try and lock him down for as long as humanly possible so he doesn't jet, especially after they sell Kirkesh and maybe Justin Clivert. So keep an eye on all of that. Now, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Soccer on TV. Thanks to our friends at Soccer America for this. League One, big matchup at the top of the table. Rotherham and Wickham. Win for Wrexham has put them in second. Wickham has to keep the pace. On YouTube is where you can find, on U.S. Soccer, you can find all 11 matchups tonight involving what's going on with Open Cup. Remember, Hartford Athletic New York Shockers at 6:30. Sarasota Naples, Miami Naples United, New Jersey and Chattanooga Red Wolves at 7. FC Motown Westchester, Asheville City Greenville, Westchester United Loudon all at 7:30. Texoma and Foro at 8. Tulsa FC Tulsa Athletic FC Tulsa at 8:30. Ventura County Laguna United and AV Alta Ventura County Fusion both at 10:30 tonight. Then on DAZN USA, if you can figure out how to get it, UEFA Women's Champions League, Real Madrid and Arsenal is at 1:45. Bayern Munich and Lyon is at 4. And the Women's Cup in Saudi Arabia is at 3 o'clock between Al Nasser and Al Shabab. Now, once again, tomorrow, like I said, Laurel Failer is going to be with us tomorrow. And she will be dropping by and letting us know about FC Cincinnati. Tyler Pilgrim dropping by as he traditionally does on Wednesdays. And we will lay that all out for you there on your Wednesday. Thursday, like I said, we're chasing cup sets. So if we get cup sets in the first half hour of the show, fantastic. We get them in the last half hour of the show, fantastic. Same would happen on Thursday. Try to lock that down in the first hour of the show. Then 10 and 10:30 is your power hour with Nino and Nico. That gets you ready for Friday, which gets us ready for FC Cincinnati, and it gets us ready across the board for everything else going on this weekend. And like I said, we are efforting our location for Friday night for the high school game on Friday Night Football. And we've got a location, just need to have conversations and hope that we can get the okie doke there before it is the U18 side, I believe, U16, U18 for Atlanta United. And that is early Saturday morning against CF Montreal. Then also racing down at 9 and 11. Then you race down and you are a part of what's going on involving Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. 1 o'clock start, 1:30 start, 2 o'clock kick, and you'll be good to go there with that one on your Saturday. So busy times all around, all over the place. Thanks to Michael, thanks to David, thanks to Wiley, and thanks to Alex, and thanks to the Platypus who came in. Thank you, Emilio, for dropping by this morning. And morning, Harry, morning, Luckville. We've banned our bot, and morning, Alex. And so once again, thanks to all of you guys for hanging out as you always do. Back at it again tomorrow at 9:05 in a little less than 22 hours. Keep an eye out on all the platforms for all the stuff that we have. Morning Espresso, video, audio, newsletter. Oh, I forgot. Before we go, don't forget to become a Fanatico. How do you become a Fanatico, he asks. Well, what you do is you go to group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. $10 a year. What do you do for $10 in the span of a year? It is a chance for everybody to sit there and go, well, maybe I go and get a Mocha Grande Latte half calf double decaf with some foam on top. Well, what you can do is you can become a member of our Fanaticos membership program. And then what you do is you get invites, and you go and you can join here on the Chant app. And here's all the things that you do. We get to kind of sit there and you see what's going on within the Chant app and the SDH community here on Chant. You get all the discounts to all the really cool places. We've added a couple of places where you can you can take advantage of being a partner here on SDH. So now, just to know, Brass Tap, Moxie Hotel in Midtown, if you are a Fanatico. South Main in Watkinsville, Schoolhouse in Marietta, Atlanta Hard Cider Marietta, Elixir Brewing in both Beaufort and Monroe, Round Trip in Marietta, Social Fox in Norcross, Keys to Flavor Catering in Sugar Hill, Fado's Midtown, O'Sullivan's, Lloyd's Soccer has a 20% off select Atlanta United gear, Finished Goods in Winder, Slow Pour in Lawrenceville, Outrun in Stone Mountain, Tires Plus in Alpharetta, Dad's Garage in Atlanta, Chateau Arenal, that's my favorite one. Battle and Brew, Sandy Springs in the Battery, Wild Leap on Ted Turner Drive. But my favorite one in all this, and it's the most random one of them all, is the Chateau Arenal, where if you wanted to go to Chateau Arenal, El Castillo, San Ramon, Costa Rica, and you were a Fanatico, you would get a code and you would get a discount. So if you wanted to go see soccer in Costa Rica, that's the boss. That's not the Chant app. But if you wanted to go and you wanted to make sure that you got to go see stuff in Costa Rica, you could stay at Chateau Arenal. And if you are a Fanatico, you'd get a discount code if you wanted to go down to Costa Rica and be a part of really cool stuff. So once again, $10 a year, you become a Fanatico, and you get to have conversations kind of like we do on the Discord, but you have it over in Fanaticos. You get all kinds of discounts, and you get to continue to help us with our Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025. So group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join, and you get to be a Fanatico here on SDH. Once again, tomorrow, Laurel Failer, Queen City Press, Tyler Pilgrim, Scarves, and Spikes. We'll talk about Atlanta, talk about Cincinnati, talk about all the points, talk about Open Cup, talk about all the things. Trust me, we'll talk about all the things. And once again, so thanks for being a part of everything, as you guys always are here on the network. Back at it in a little less than 22. And since it's the end of the show, mucho platiel, play it safe. That means I get to do this. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do it again tomorrow morning.